lives. Go into a store these days to quench your thirst, and you'll find yourself facing a bewildering wall of bottled waters. And that's just water. Our cover story is reported by Martha Teichner.
Suddenly, you're possessed. It's as if aliens have immobilized you in front of all those flashing televisions. And all you wanted to do was buy one. It comes over you in places like this. That dizzy, slightly seasick feeling, triggered by too much technology. But it's not just electronics. You thought whenever you nose your cart through the supermarket and all those zillions of kinds of cereal cast a spell on you so you can't just pick one, you thought you were unique? Well, you're not.
Big shredded wheat, small shredded wheat, flavored shredded wheat.
Ask psychology professor Barry Schwartz.
People are really attracted to bountiful variety. But then, when they're in that store that has a lot, they don't buy more.
In his book, The Paradox of Choice, Schwartz argues there really truly is such a thing as too much choice.
You should buy.
I think you should buy it.
It's a buy.
Buy it. Choose.
Some companies offer their employees 3 different mutual funds to choose from. Some offer 10, some offer 40, some offer over 100. For every 10 plans that the employer makes available, participation rate goes down 2%. So in trivial things like buying jam or important things like putting money away for your retirement, when you flood people with all these options, you induce paralysis rather than liberation.
Martha, we're coming into plasma TVs.
If you don't believe we're drowning in choice, visit the testing labs at Consumer Reports magazine. Jeffrey Asher is technical director.
In the case of just the TVs, we have spent $500,000 this last year, just this last year. 10 years ago, we would have tested 20 TVs, so we would have been looking at something on the order of $5,000 versus $500,000.
And what about digital cameras?
Keeping up with these, we have to do them about 3 times a year now. We have about 65 that, talk about choice, 65 different cameras. Consumer
Reports spends more than $3 million a year buying all the stuff it tests. More than 3,000 models of the 100-plus different products that show up in the magazine. Open a door and there's no telling what sort of strange things you'll see. To go with the barbecue grills, how about some barbecue sauce? This is much sweeter.
Now imagine doing that, the evaluation you just did, but do it with 17 different aspects. And 30 different products.
Wow.
The more time you spend searching and the more alternatives you evaluate, the less satisfied you'll be with whichever alternative you choose.
Professor Schwartz says all kinds of studies prove it. He calls the kind of person who obsesses over making the perfect choice and ends up miserable a maximizer.
You need to put blinders on, and you need to put earplugs in your ears so that you won't be affected by all of this effort to convince you that you have yesterday's technology.
Follow the money.
Or you can join the 10 million people who listen to Kim Commando.
I'm computer pro Kim Commando.
Yes, that's her real name.
It's a digital world, and you're still living in an analog life? Does that sound like you?
Her technology call-in show, which originates in Phoenix, is heard on 400 radio stations across the country.
And I want to start communicating more with my grandkids who live...
The show gets 50,000 calls an hour. The typical caller is...
totally baffled, totally confused, ready to throw this box of electronics out the window or into the street and hopefully have a truck run it over so they would never have to see it again.
Kim Commando has learned the hard way what can happen when she recommends a product.
We have crashed websites. That particular vendor just couldn't handle the traffic that generated from that particular recommendation.
She's that big, which ought to tell you something about how Americans are coping. Being in the business of offering help is becoming a growth industry. Clever marketing doesn't hurt. The Geek Squad was started for $200. Best Buy bought it in 2002 for $3 million.
Good afternoon, I'm Double Agent Riley.
And to prove he's a genuine geek, show me your white socks.
Yep.
You're really wearing the white socks?
Yep, that's part of the uniform. It pops right off.
There are 12,000 geeks system-wide. You can pay them to get you out of whatever hot water your technology choices have gotten you into. Double Agent Riley's assignment in Plano, Texas, is to fix Adrian Morgan's computer.
On a scale from nothing to dangerous, you're right on the border of dangerous.
Really? And I spent
Yep.
a whole day trying to take that thing off. It's quite frustrating if you're taking on something new, whether it be decorating a new room, whether it be buying a new car, choosing a doctor.
So how do you choose, especially when life and death issues are involved? What psychologist Barry Schwartz will tell you is pretty radical.
There is no decision where it makes sense to look for the best. I think good enough is always good enough.
There are going to be people who think that that is just outrageous.
I'm sure there are.
In other words, pick the first thing that seems to work and move on.
Now you got to choose from 200 cheeses. They probably have 40 different kinds of tea. So a rational, thoughtful, careful shopping trip, you'd be dead of starvation before you finish shopping.
When in doubt, there's always eeny, meeny, miny, mo.